start of the 20th century, there was no powered plane. Then, in 1903, thanks to Orville and Wilbur Wright, the plane was invented. But before they could build an airplane, they needed to know how. To figure this out, the Wright brothers observed birds and built wind tunnels. A wind tunnel, in their case, was a box with holes in either end to let wind through. A wind tunnel, in their case, was a box with holes in either end in which wind flows through to test the lift the wind creates. Orville and Wilbur made their first plane out of wood, wire, and block. Their plane was named Flyer, later known as the Wright Flyer. Flyer is a biplane. The tail was in front to control the plane. The Wright brothers noticed that in order to create lift, the wings had to be curved. By 1899, before they invented the plane, the brothers added to flight archives. They began testing Their gliders had a wing-shaping device to control them. This is a device to bend the wings, affecting lift and direction. The next year, in 1900, they tested their biggest glider. Its wingspan was 17 feet and it weighed 52 pounds. They tested this glider at Kill Devil Hills near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The next year, they tried to build a much bigger glider, but it wouldn't fly. It weighed too much. By 1903, they had designed, built, and attached an engine to this new glider. They also attached landing gear. This glider became Flyer. The Flyer's first flight in 1903 lasted 12 seconds at 20 miles per hour. It flew near Kitty Hawk also. The next flight that day lasted 1 minute. By 1904, they had flown for 5 minutes in a row. In 1905, they had flown for 40 minutes straight. They showed Flyer to the Europeans. Soon after, in 1906, European flights started, though they weren't as good as American flights because they didn't have good controls. The Wright brothers made different models of the Flyer. They tried to sell these to American and European governments. Finally, in 1909, they sold the Flyer to the American Army, creating the Air Force. Physics. During flight, a plane has four forces acting on it. Well, it's not working.
Just a second here.
During flight, a plane has four forces acting on it. These are lift, gravity, thrust, and drag. Lift allows the plane to fly. Gravity keeps it above Earth and pulls it down, and drag reduces speed, and thrust pushes the plane forwards. Wings create lift because of low pressure and high-speed air on top of the wings. The low pressure pulls the wings upward, allowing flight. Small triangle-shaped wings go on supersonic planes to reduce drag and create the necessary amount of lift. This is so they will go faster. Bigger wings are used on airliners to create large lift. When taking off, lift generated by its wings overcomes gravity, launching the plane. To create lift, wind has to go over the wings, which is caused by creating thrust. Engines push air backwards. This is called action. The reaction is that the plane goes forwards. The plane is controlled by flaps and a rudder. To be faster, most planes are streamlined. This means they are smooth and will reduce drag. During flight, if all engines fail, the plane becomes a glider. This happened in an incident called Gimli Glider. The engines failed and the electricity died because of the engines that generated it. That meant that the hydraulic pumps that used electricity also failed. So the pilot activated a special device to generate electricity for the plane, turning it into a large glider. As long as the plane is moving forwards, the wings will still create lift. This demonstrates the lift created without thrust. Mechanics. While a plane is flying, it's under pressure. To add strength, the planes have a fuselage made out of three parts. The ribs, which add strength, the frame, forming the body, and the skin, which covers the plane. During high altitude and high-speed flight, pressure is a big problem, so the planes are very strong. The same controls invented by the Wright brothers are still used. These are the rudder, the elevator, and the wing warping, which was replaced by the aileron. The rudder controls yaw or direction. The aileron controls roll on the plane's side-to-side swing. And finally, the elevators control pitch, or up and down. In order to land onto the plane, the pilot raises the nose, touches down, and activates the brakes. When a plane is landing on a carrier, the deck has wires stitched across it to catch a special hook and slow the plane down. When people needed to fly higher, they started pressurizing the cabins. To do this, the planes need an air compressor and thicker walls. Jet engines created compressed air and can handle the weight of thick walls. So in 1905, cabin pressurization was created. Jet engines have 3 different parts. Oh wait, wrong side. So the compressors. The compressor, a big fan blade, turbine, the shaft spinning the fan, and the combustion chamber. Jets and propellers are actually very similar. A jet is just a propeller using fuel differently. Another engine type is a turboprop, which combines turbojet and propeller. One big engineering accomplishment was the Saturn V rocket. It was the biggest rocket ever built and was used to reach the moon. Its payload was up to 260,000 pounds. It had the biggest engines ever seen in a rocket of its time. It was successful even though the U.S. had little success earlier. This was because of the F-1 engines that were made, tested, and built before NASA existed. F-1 engines produced 1.5 million pounds of thrust. 5 of these were used on the first stage, creating 7.6 million pounds of thrust. The whole rocket weighed about 6.5 million pounds. The F-1 engine uses 1 million pounds of fuel in the 3 minutes that it's on. After the first stage fell away, the rocket is 5 million pounds lighter. The third stage is the computer stage, but since there were no microprocessors, the Saturn V used a customized IMB computer. An IMB was a small computer that controlled flight. The fuel used by Saturn V was kerosene and LOX, which is liquid oxygen, for the first stage, and hydrogen and LOX for the remaining stages. Another big flying machine is a 747. It was built in 1906 and was the biggest plane for about 40 years. 747 can fly 9,000 miles without refueling and carries 600 passengers. It holds 60,000 gallons of fuel. This means that each passenger can fly 100 miles on 1 gallon in a 747. It flies fast too. At Mach 8,500, it flies at almost the speed of sound. Mach 1 is the speed of sound. The 747 can carry cargo. Its hump holds the cargo bay and the second floor. To be a true cargo plane, it also has an entrance in the front. I think this information is important to know because I want to be an aerospace engineer when I'm older. This is interesting because humans weren't able to fly until they invented the plane, and other creatures were able to fly since they were created. I'm very interested in this because I think it's amazing that we could someday leave this planet, and I may someday too. I think that flight is amazing, and I someday hope to design, maybe fly a plane. Wait. And I have some fun facts that I put at the end. Orville was 4 years older. An aviator named Elhammer was made fun of, but at the air show he was the only one to take off. And the fastest plane is the SR-71, and it flew at Mach 3 and is made entirely out of titanium to deal with heat. Can anybody guess which plane this is? Hudson.
Is it a bomber?
No. Here.
A Black Hawk?
Yeah, Black Hawk's SR. Wait, no, that's a type of helicopter.
Oh.
It's the Blackbird SR-71. What about this plane? Noah?
Oh, I'm just
What?
I'm just
Clay?
Northwest Plane.
True.
Clever.
Steven?
Passenger plane.
Also true, Eric.
Isn't it is it a brand of American Airlines plane? I see the flag.
No. Ben?
Was it the Mach 3?
No, that was the last slide.
Go back a couple slides or two.
No. Aiden? Yes. Who can guess this one? Noah.
The Flyer?
Yes. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and thanks for listening. Does anyone have any questions? Morgan?
Are you passionate about this? Because it seems like you are. I just want to be sure. Okay.
Very. Eric?
If you go back a couple slides,
Yeah. Like how many?
couple more.
This one?
No, more. That one.
Yeah.
Is that picture of you and your brother?
Yes.
I couldn't
And
tell.
that is the 7.5 engines.
Okay.
They're pretty big.
Which one's your brother?
The one that's not me.
The one with the red jacket?
Yeah.
I believe it's
Keegan?
You doing this thing, just reminded me of a shirt my dad has. It's kind of like the stages of like inventing and everything. And it started out with like a glider, and it got to regular plane, and then the end it was like a Star Wars ship.
Maggie?
What's your favorite plane?
Probably the SR-71. It's pretty cool. Then, Noah, do you have something?
Yes. If the flyer didn't work, what do you think might have happened without it? Do you think somebody else would have
I
tried to
think
do
we
it?
would probably be stuck with gliders. Or they would be still trying to invent a plane. Then,
Yeah, I remember. How fast is the black tiger?
it goes at Mach 3, which is 3 times the speed of sound. Eric?
Isn't there a kind of plane that can go straight up? I know helicopters can.
There's 2 types that I know of, the Harrier jet and the B-22 Osprey. Lily?
If you could invent any plane, what would it look like?
Probably triangular, really fast, and really high ceiling, which means it can fly really high. Morgan?
What's the biggest plane in the world currently?
I don't know. Rebecca?
On the flyer, I noticed that they were laying down. Does that help the plane fly faster?
I'm not sure. I think that's just the way they designed the cockpit. It might. But if they had like a modern cockpit, it probably would fly much faster. Well, not much, but. Peyton?
Have you ever been in a plane?
Yeah, I've been in a couple planes flying to Michigan and Colorado. Charlotte?
What kind of plane did you fly?
I really have no idea. Hudson?
For your plane that you would make, would it go Mach 4?
Maybe. Maybe faster.
Mach 100.
Lillian?
If you were to actually work at a place that would make planes, where would you work at?
Probably NASA or SpaceX. Or some other place. Eric?
Will you show us about this?
Yeah. When everyone's done with questions. Finn?
When you answered Peyton's question, you said you've only gone and saw him going to Michigan and other places.
I said Michigan and Colorado.
Yeah. You've also gone inside a 747 and a ton of
747
planes from
Space
World
Shuttle.
War
I've also
II.
been inside those. Lillian again?
If you have any more questions about planes or would like to learn more, my dad works with planes all the time.
That's cool. Hudson again?
Why was your brother doing this?
Let's keep the questions to the presentation.
Okay. I can answer your question later. Does anyone else have any questions before I show my model?
Why don't you go ahead and show that, and then we'll do acknowledgements, because we want to make sure we get those in before we have to go to acting classes.
I was planning for everyone to sit behind the projector too. So is the model of the Wright Flyer that my dad helped me build. I didn't do very much of it because it was really hard, but I put on the propellers and the guide, and I got most of these pieces out. I'm pretty sure that is Orville and that's Wilbur. So, does anyone have any questions about my mom? Keegan?
Was it hard to make?
Extremely. Hudson?
Why is the guy running away?
He's supposed to be running with the plane. But, Eric?
Isn't how would they get the they get the glider to take off?
They were near hills, so they probably ran it off one of the hills or used this track thing to launch it. Rebecca?
Is that wood or plastic?
It's possible. Lillian again?
And does it actually fly?
No. That would be awesome, though.
That's it.
Eric?
How long did it take you to build?
I don't really know. It took us at least 2 hours total, but we did it on 2 separate nights. So it was hard. Ben?
Is there an actual model of that somewhere in the world not destroyed?
Yes, the picture here. The picture. Oh, that picture. That is it in the museum. And when we were making this PowerPoint, we had to crop the picture some because it said Wright Co. Like it said Wright Co. there for their company that made planes. So we had to crop that off so it wouldn't be too obvious when you look at this. Charlotte.
What was your favorite part about and like what was your favorite thing that you did?
When I was researching this? Probably researching when they invented the plane. So,
Let's just do this assumption. When you said the plane that says the 3 times the speed of sound,
yeah.
could you get to like any place in a minute?
No, but it said, when I was researching that plane, it said it could get from London to New York in 2 hours, when the same trip on normal planes would take like 6 hours.
Who's your favorite Wright brother?
Probably Wilbur. I don't know much of the difference between the two, but I just think Wilbur's cooler.
Didn't one of them die before the plane actually was finished?
No. Okay, acknowledgements.